And we are live. Peace, 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 Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio. Place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born a Lot. And we definitely have a divine, inspirational treat for us here today. We get another installment from the great divine and healing warrior goddess mind of Capricorn Shamaness. Okay? So let's take our pens and our pads together and let's get activated as she realigns our minds, our thinkings, our hearts, our beings towards a transformational experience. So without any further ado, it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce and present to others the divine mind of our warrior goddess Capricorn Shamaness.
Thank you. You give great introductions, by the way. I'm sure other people have told you the same. Um, Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I am the Capricorn Shamaness, and I am here today with the third session of our psychic self defense series. So thank you for joining us. Just a little bit about me. I am a healer and a teacher, and I've been the priestess presiding over my life for probably at least the last 15 years. I've been on this particular path of spirituality. And I work with mainly women, but sometimes I get some men that come through and helping you to recognize your divinity, helping you to heal traumas, helping you to reset yourself, and set yourself up for the life that you desire, not just falling prey to the circumstances or the situation that you might have found yourself in. So let's get into it. So in sessions 1 and 2, we covered a few things. The first session, we covered vision. If you want to manage the psychic attack, the energy that's coming towards you, the first thing you got to do is clarify what it is that you are up to. What is your vision? Because if not, then what you will do is get pulled into other people's energy, other people's vision, the energy streams, the data sources that are here and governing things. You're just going to get pulled into what is commonly referred to as the drift, because you haven't clarified or come into a state of consciousness about who you are and what it is that you're up to. And we cover vision in that first session. What do you want? Why do you want it? What does it look like? And your assignment was to go off and to sit with that for a week and let it percolate and really start to document what it is for you. And then in the second session, we talked about psychic offensive protection. What it is that you want to have in place, just because. And pretty much what it needs to be is centered around your vision. That's why we started off with vision to start off with. So the protections that you have in place should be protecting that which you hold dear, that which you are creating. And so in this week's session, I want to talk about the defensive piece of it. What needs to happen if you've gotten hit? So let me tell you, for the most part, what I'm really talking about, and what a lot of times what people are really talking about when they're coming and asking questions about protection, is usually, sometimes it's more than this, but it's usually around entanglement. Like your energy, we're not just a single solitary um, entity sitting here. Like, we share space with one another. We share time and space with one another. And so the entanglement of it all, a lot of times, is what people are frustrated with. Um, Sometimes there's actually attack now, but many times those attacks aren't always malicious, with just the everyday things. Now, you have different scenarios, different situations. There are forces and people and groups that are actively putting out narratives, actively vying for your attention, actively vying for your energy, and they are willing to cause you harm in order to have it. That's there, that's real. And yes, it needs to be addressed. But I promise you, if you would do some of the things that I talked to you about in the first session, clarifying your vision, the second session, protecting your vision, and now in this third session, pretty much, if you've been hit, what do you do? What do you do? So, uh, hold on, let me pull up my notes. I got turned around a little bit. So, the first thing you want to do if you have experience, if you've been hit, if you're struggling with entanglement, and when I say entanglement, I mean the energy, like when two or more people come together, you have a auric field that is around you that is 6 feet in dimension, 6 feet in all around you, whatever direction you're coming from. Most people, their average auric field is about that. And so if you're standing in a room and someone is closer than 6 feet to you, then your energy and their energy is entangled. That's one side of it. Not to mention when you have larger groups that are coming together, even if you're further away than those that 6 feet, that energy in that whatever that space is, you guys are sharing energy, you're sharing mind, you're sharing your physical existence, you're sharing your emotional energy in that space. And so you got to walk into places being clear about what it is that you want, clear about what it is that you're bringing, clear about what it is that you're expecting to receive in that space. But if for some reason you happen to get hit, what you need to do is assess the damage first of all. I would be trying to determine the source of the attack if it's not clear. Um, uh, where did it come from? Who did it? Determine, and then you want to determine for yourself, why was it allowed in your space? Assess your environment. Did you have something in place that said it was okay for this to be here? Did somebody else have something in place that said it was okay for it to be here, to be present in your reality? Are you out of alignment? Did you miss the step where last in session 2, where I talked about aligning yourself with the planetary energies that govern this realm? Are you out of alignment, or are you out of alignment? Maybe you're in alignment with them, but you're out of alignment with something else that you should be in alignment with. What is going on that allowed this thing to take place in your space? um uh the other thing that I want you guys to do when you're assessing the damage is also going back and looking in your lineage. A lot of times, some of the stuff that you're dealing with, some of the stuff that you're battling with, some of the things that you need protection with, they're coming from within your bloodline because someone in your bloodline gave it permission to be there. And even if it's not something that's a part of your vision, you need to assess whether or not there's some adjustments that need to be made to the ancestral energy that you're walking in, or how you're relating to it. If you're dealing with psychic attack. um and then the next thing, I want you to go and get into your body. Get into your body. There's 2 body systems that you're going to need to become mindful of. One is the immune system, which is your body's security system. All the organs that are a part of this system are there to provide you some level of security. So if you're experiencing psychic attack, or you're walking around with other people's energy after the exchange is done, then you may need to make some adjustments to your body's security system. And then the other system that I want you to be mindful of is the digestive system, because this is the system that is there to help you actually consume and process energy. It converts your food sources to energy for the body, but that's only in the physical. It is also doing the same thing energetically for your mental stuff and your emotions. So if your digestive system is out of whack and you're dealing with issues of protection, then you may not be processing your experiences properly. You may not be seeing things the way that they should be seen because something is backed up or operating out of alignment or out of bounds. It's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Something is not getting processed. You're not understanding something. You're missing something, or for whatever reason your body is unable to process it. So you may be feeding yourself things that don't support what it is that you're up to. Remember, every step of this series I'm talking to you about vision. So if you're digesting, if you're consuming something that compromises your vision, then it is up to you as the divine one that you are to stop and choose another food source, another resource that will support your vision rather than distract you from it or sabotage you from having it or whatever it is that's happening. So you want to check your digestive system. And fasting is an excellent way for you to do this because the digestive system is the hardest working system in the body. And so the more food you consume, the more your body is trying to process, the more energy that it is having to expel to break down the food, to convert it to energy, to move the waste out of your vessel. Um, so you want to check your digestive system. Now let's get into the immune system. The immune system is the body security system. So if you're having issues of psychic attack where you're having to protect yourself or defend yourself against something, then you want to look at the system that is responsible for security. So how how are you determining or searching out threats? What do you have in place that determines whether or not something is a threat? Go there. Um, and these are the functions of the immune system. The immune system, there's aspects that are patrolling, there's aspects that are detecting. They're patrolling for threats, trying to determine whether or not there are any threats in the vicinity in your vessel. There's um, there's the aspects that when a threat is located, then it kind of isolates it. There is the parts that identify and categorize those threats, like what type of threat is it. There's the parts that are reporting on it, like throughout the body. Hey, there's a problem here. I need this type of immune cell to come and handle this. There's the recording of it, the documentation that's happening. All of this is happening inside of you, divine. um and then there's the response. How are we going to respond to it? What type of defense are we going to put up? What are we going to do? And then how do we adapt so that this particular threat, we are prepared for it the next time? So you, as this divine being that you are responsible for this. Coming to the table with this level of consciousness, you need to understand if you're getting hit, if you're getting attacked, if you're having to defend yourself, if you're trying to recover from, experiences that are draining you or people that are draining you, then you need to understand where is there disorder or dis-ease happening within you. So again, these systems are operating not only in the physical, but they're also operating in the spiritual. So from a spiritual perspective, where are we out of balance with the patrolling, with the detecting, with the categorizing and the reporting, the responding, the adaptation? Where do we need to make shifts? So you want to go into your body and understand what's happening. And into your reality, like where are you off? Was there, are you entering a space when you shouldn't be entering it? Like, are you ignoring the signs when your spirit is saying, no, I don't resonate with this, we don't need to go there? Are you making yourself wrong when spirit is saying this is not the space for me? Are you forcing yourself to stay on a job in a situation that you don't belong in? And so by the time you leave work, you so spent and bent that, is your spirit speaking to you and telling you to do something different, and you're just ignoring the signs, ignoring the calls? Or are those calls not even coming in? Are you just wired to receive abuse, to experience abuse, and not do anything about it, but sit around and be frustrated and, blame yourself for the issue. You really need to get inside of you and understand how your body's defenses may be compromised, and if they are compromised, and the way that you respond is going to depend on the type of attack. Sometimes what you're experiencing is because your spirit team and your higher self is trying to get you to recognize that something different needs to be done. So it's not always that you got to do something about the attack on an external way. Sometimes it might just be, I don't need to be here, or I need to be showing up differently, or I need to have XYZ in place so that if this happens or when this happens, then I'm doing such and such. So you really need to understand why these attacks are happening and what's going on inside of you, that, when it's happening, and how you want to respond to it. Um, the adaptation part of it is key, because what you want to do for this next part is, there's two things. You want to fortify yourself. If there's a gap, if there's something that's missing, if something needs to be adjusted, then not only do you need to identify it, but you need to shore that part up. You need to figure out how to shore that part up. And then you need to have some strategy in place so that you can determine, is there a counterattack that's needed? Do I need to return the energy? Do I need to reverse the energy? Do I need to recall my own energy as a result of this? All of these things are a part of that adaptation piece of it, of your security system. What it is, that how you want to handle it, how do you want to what do you want to do with the energy? It's not always, a moment of revenge and attacking back. If you don't take the time to assess where you are with it, you might respond with an attack and get your ass beat again because you're doing it. You haven't taken the proper steps. You haven't figured out what the true issue is. You're so busy looking at what they're doing, you haven't recognized how you're contributing to your own suffering. So, all of these parts are within your immune system, and all of these parts are things that need to be addressed. And the other side to it is, I don't know if I said this earlier, but the key thing about this is, sometimes you got to call in somebody else. Sometimes you need another set of eyes on it, that's not attached to whatever the situation is. And especially if you're having issues both with the immune system and the digestive system, because if your digestive system is off, you're not processing life correctly. You're not seeing it as it really is. Your energy is not being utilized properly. You may not even be creating the appropriate energy that you need for yourself. There's so many places that you can go with this. So that's when you need to call in a spiritual worker, whether it be a light worker or a shadow worker, depending on your path and what you're up to, how you're moving, or someone that does a little bit of both, because you need support to help you to see and understand and process what's happening to you and why. And finally, what I want to talk about is some of the spiritual hygiene practices. Like, this is the stuff that people think about when they talk about protection and this, that, and the third. But honestly, you got to go through, if you really want to do it right, you got to go through all the stuff that I've covered in 1, 2, and 3 before you even get to this point. Because if not, then you may have missed something. So if you went to 3 first, then do a little bit of backtracking and see if there's anything else that needs to be addressed prior to it. So, one thing you want to do is smudging. Smudge the area, smudge your energy, smudge yourself. You can work with any of the sages. They are wise healers, wise teachers. Any of the sages will help. And there's different sages that are used for different types of clearing and cleansing and protection. Also, rosemary and cedar are also good to use when you're doing smudge work as well. They have different things that they're working on, so depending on what's going on, you might want to introduce some other herbs in your smudges besides just the sages. Sound. Uh, Esophageal notes are really, really good for setting the energy. I think I talked about this a little bit in session two. But if your, especially if your mental is out of whack, you need to get some sound going in the space in your environment that's going to shift your energy and that resonates again with your vision. And sometimes that vision may be the overarching vision that we've been talking about, but sometimes that vision looks like right now, what I am envisioning for myself is peace. So you want to put on music that will support you with cultivating the peace that you're looking for in that particular moment. Another practice is spiritual baths. Um, the energy of washing away what is no longer needed or wanted is really, really, it's necessary, especially if you're empathic, especially if you're doing any kind of spiritual work. You need to be cleansing yourself. You bathe your body on a daily basis. You also have to do your work to wash your spirit, to wash your energy, to purify those emotions. Okay. That's a whole nother class. um, then there's also chakra clearing that needs to happen. You need to clean up the energy centers within your body. What's going on? What got hit? You know, we already covered figuring out the why and all of that stuff, but we need to understand what got hit and then make whatever the adjustments are for the parts of you that have gotten hit. You can also utilize crystals to support you in this. My two favorites are selenite and obsidian, and I also love malachite. And also herbs, again, going back to the earth of it all, putting things into your body, into your digestive system, like you processing the food, the herbs as food energy, they will go into your body and shift it and adjust it and help you to release whatever the energy is that you're no longer wanting to have or that's vexing your your spirit. Um and then you want to finally determine what you want to do with the energy, what the energy that you received, um but mainly, you know, also another part of it is the energy that may have been lost. Do you need to reclaim that energy? Do you need to call that part of your energy back, or do you need to purify that part of yourself before you call your energy back? Like, what do you want to do with whatever the deficit is that got created as a result of the attack, or whether or not it was truly a deficit? Sometimes it's just a hurt feeling that, again, like I'm saying, maybe your spirit team is just trying to tell you that things need to, you need to show up differently, you need to be doing things differently. So I think that's enough for the series. Like, I've given you guys a lot to consider, a lot to think about, a lot to contemplate. If you're wanting support and help with all of this stuff, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here. You can reach me at capricornshamaness.me. There's along the menu bar, there's an option for consultations. You can click there and it'll open up and you can see the different ways that we can work together, whether it be a reading or a healing session, or if you want to have me do some ritual work for you, then you can, you know, sign up for either the angelic magic or some of the simple one stop, one prayer request rituals that are available under the rituals tab. But don't hesitate to ask for support. Sometimes when these things are happening, you just need somebody else's eye on it. You just need somebody else's support, somebody else's opinion about it. And especially if you're emotionally charged in it, sometimes you just need a person that isn't attached to it, that's not attached to it, to support you in navigating your way through it, or to assist you in fighting the battles if you really are in, you know, in the midst of some malicious attacks. So I hope this helps. Also, you can also reach me on Etsy, Capricorn Shamaness, Instagram, Capricorn Shamaness, Facebook, Capricorn Shamaness, YouTube, and Shopify. So lots of ways for us to connect. Um, I would love to hear from you guys. So reach out. Peace and blessings. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.